What's good, guys? We're back with a Plunder Patrol update. I've been playing this deck online on DB Rated, and I want to go through my build just with the real cards, since I like to play with the real cards anyway, and this is probably what I'm going to take to locals next. So let's go ahead and talk through it a little bit, and there are actually changes, and I'm not sure if I've ever done this type of build on the channel yet, but I think it's the way to go right now, and I really want to showcase why and some of the weird choices that I'm making lately and why I think they fit in the meta. And then I actually have a replay or two. I'm not sure if I'm going to attach it to this video or just upload those separately, but I have recorded some replays of me playing this exact build on DB Rated and actually getting some W's. So I do want to go through that with you guys so you can see some actual gameplay with this deck and what it can do if you're able to pull it off. And one of the best things about Plunder Patrol right now, first of all of the decks in the meta basically fill up all of your attributes for you. We have Snake Eyes, they have Fire and Dark, and then Veiler and Ogre are light monsters. We also have Tenpai, they have Fire monsters and Darks in the Bestials and Light in the Hieratic Seals, so you're good to go there. And then like most of the meta are the good attributes that you want to be playing against. We don't really see Fluanderies very much. We don't see Kashtira very much, which kind of give you problems because their attributes are not good. They're not the light, fire, and dark that Plunder really thrives against. So this is a quality meta for Plunder, and another reason why is that this deck can play a crap load of hand traps, and honestly, this is a format where you need to do that. So I think Plunder has some unique kind of options, or has a unique place in the meta where we can actually bring it out and play it with success. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through my main and extra for you guys here, just so we can see what I've been playing and why I'm making some of the choices that I am. So we're going to start with the main deck monsters as per usual, and we're going to be a little bit different right off the bat. I'm on 2 Redbeard, and you're going to see why. Let me actually just go through all of our engine really quick, and you're going to see why I'm on 2 red. So besides the Redbeard, we're on 3 of everything else in terms of the monsters. So we have Black Eyes, Bluebeard, and Golden Hair. We want to almost max out on them, and you could actually argue for playing a 3rd Redbeard in this particular build. We just want to see as many names as possible to make sure we combo, to make sure we have whatever combination of cards will get us into Jord preferably, or in worst case, just a Blackbeard turn 1, because that's going to be pretty solid. And then for the next cards, this is where stuff changes a little bit. I'm on 2 copies of Emblem. I really like Emblem these days. Let me just show the rest. I'm on 2 copies of Shipyard as well, and I don't like Shipyard these days, because Shipyard is just Ash Magnet. It's a Ghost Ogre Magnet, and if you go -1 on like Shipyard pitch something and you get ashed, or you get ogred, even worse, you're just done. Like, you're playing with 3 cards in a 2-card combo deck where you've lost your Searcher and you're kind of cooked. So to me, a new view of Shipyard is kind of like, this is a turn 3 card where it's used simply to boost all of your attacks so you can go for game. Like, we do not really want to be using the search effect of Shipyard, and that's why we're playing the 2 emblems. So this kind of increases your total count here to 16 cards, and essentially any 2 of these is going to get you into at least a Blackbeard. Whereas if we go for the Shipyard, we risk getting hand trapped, where hand traps are normally just not good against this deck, because people don't know where to hand trap you. You know, like Veiler is dead, Mourner is pretty dead as well, and it's just not very good against this deck, and we're kind of giving our opponent an opportunity to hand trap something very easy, something very telegraphed, where it's like, oh, they discarded something for cost, I should probably hit this with whatever I got. I don't really want to be dealing with that. It just hurts so much. It's so much negative, so much minus. But I still want to be playing 2 copies for a couple reasons. The first one is I always want to have one in deck to search off of Morik. We always want to kind of keep that resource game going. The second one is I want to always have one available to boost up my monsters turn 3 when I want to go for game. And the third reason is we're back onto 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Now you're going to notice we're not playing Adventure in this build. We are on pure Plunder Patrol, and I honestly think that it's the better play. This is 22 cards, or 21 cards of non-engine. I mean, this is 21 cards of engine, and it's just all the gas we really need. And by not playing adventure, we're able to play more hand traps to be able to stop our opponent when we go second. Because honestly, playing into a board with adventure, you're just going to get cooked. Like, in this day and age, you don't really have a chance. You can't just go adventure into a Snake Eyes board and expect to get anything out of it. So in this format where we really need to max out on hand traps, we need to see at least 2 or 3 hand traps in our opening hand. We cannot afford to play the adventure cards, and that's why I want to max out on the best cards in the archetype right here, or at least focus on them and not clutter the deck with a whole bunch of other engines that are just suboptimal at this time. So yeah, like I was saying, we're on to Shipyard because if we activate Desires, we want to make sure we still have access to one later. It doesn't make sure, but it reduces the chance that we banish all of the copies that we play. And then Emblem is actually a fantastic card because this card cannot get ogred, it cannot get ashed. And if we really need to out something, we can equip one of our extra deck guys with Emblem, which makes them unable to be targeted, and then our opponent won't be able to chain Imperm or chain Valor to our effects. Yeah, they can chain it to the Emblem, but at least we haven't burned a discard cost, so we still have a lot of opportunities there to continue. And you know, now that I think about it more, if we equip Emblem to an extra deck guy, they chain Imperm, we can just use Emblem to literally summon out another extra deck guy of the same name and then get the effect off anyway. So it really does play around the effect negators these days. But anyways, I urge you to look back into Emblem a little bit. I think it's a great card, a little bit overlooked, a little bit frowned upon, but it really puts damage onto the board. Whenever we have like one extra Plunder name on board, we can just get a whole new extra deck monster out of it. It's basically like 2 more copies of Bluebeard. It's just another extender that will get us into whatever ship we need, and it just puts damage out because of the 500 attack boost that it gives. It makes it very easy, like if you have Emblem plus Shipyard, to just go for game. And also there's the very cool combo that everyone needs to know. If you're playing Emblem, if you have Shipyard in the graveyard and Emblem in the hand, you can equip an Emblem, bounce the Emblem back to hand to set the Shipyard for free, and then you can just activate the Emblem again and you basically earn yourself a free Shipyard, and they really revolve off of each other. So yeah, super clutch combos, super clutch way to play in my opinion, and I am loving this version of the deck right now. Just keep it simple, and honestly, these are the best cards you have, so why not just fully focus on them? The remaining 19 cards, is it 19? It's something like that. Yeah, 19 cards are going to be non-engine. Stop me if you've seen this before in the last like 5 months, but here are the hand traps. 3 Mourner, 3 Ash, 3 Valor, 3 Imperm, 3 Ogre. Okay, that's 15 hand traps. And then our last 4 cards, I'm deciding to play 2 Droplet and 2 Talents. That's 19 non-engine. That's really what you need to be doing to be competing in this particular format. It sucks, yes, but hey, this deck can support it. Why not support the deck and actually give this a go? I'm loving it. I think it's fantastic. And people don't know what your cards do, and that's one of the best parts about playing Plunder, is not only can you just stop your opponent because you know where to hand trap them, they do not know where to hand trap you, and you can usually get some momentum going and actually win games against meta decks. Like, it's honestly not too difficult to do if you play your cards right. Literally. Alright, so that's the main deck, the main 40. You can play other stuff, like there's cards like Rivalry that you can play, but Rivalry is dead against a lot of meta right now. It's dead against Tenpai, it's dead against Labyrinth, it's dead against, I don't know, Fluanderies or whatever. I mean, you can play it. It's very good into Snake Eyes, but if you're just going to locals, you might not be playing against Snake Eyes every round, and it might not be worth in the main deck, so you can go ahead and keep that out. But I guess that being said, you can use it as discard fodder for the field spell or for blue if you're in a matchup where it just sucks. So, I don't know, it's something to consider. And then other cards that are decent, Nibiru is always solid in the main, like especially if you're playing that many hand traps, you might want to just go ahead and chuck in some nibs. The downside about Plunder, though, is you can't really play Droll and Lockbird because Droll stops you from searching as well. So usually you're going to use Droll on the first effect that your opponent uses to search. And then you can't use your ship effects to search. Like, you can banish with Moark, but you won't add a field spell. You can't even activate Blackbeard, because Blackbeard has to draw. It's a mandatory part of the effect, so Droll turns off your own Blackbeard, so that's not good, and that's why Droll's not really played in Plunder, not really too playable, and that kind of worries me for the upcoming format, because I think Droll's going to be good, and we can't play it, but, you know, what can you do? And then there's always the classic other hand traps like Bestials are a good example. Bestial's not as good in Plunder anymore because we don't have Baron de Fleur as a follow-up, but we still could be playing a level 10 Synchro and trying to get some value out of that, but still, yeah, up to you if you want to be on the Nibiru in the main. You can take out the Ogres, you could take out the, what do you call it, the Talents or the Droplets, or just play 43 cards, but I don't really know if I recommend that because you really need to see 2 Plunder names in hand, or else you just can't really play that well, unless it's Whitebeard specifically. Alright, on to the extra deck. Because it's a pure Plunder deck, there's not a whole lot of innovation we need to do with this extra, so we're going to be on our usual 3 copies of Blackbeard, mandatory for all Plunder builds. And in this time, we're going to be on 3 copies of Lists, and I like 3 of Lists because it's honestly the best one because it's both interruption and extension on your own turn. You almost always go into a List if you pull off your Jord combo, so you know, 1 is going to be out of your extra deck on turn 0 automatically, and then I still like to have 2 as follow-up. Just monster effect negation is very good. We're going to be on 2 copies of Mowork still. If I'm going to bump another one up to 3, it's going to be Mowork. Maybe I will. 2 copies of Brand. There's a lot of fire in this format. Everyone's on Ash, and then there's Tenpai, this is fire, and then there's Snake Eye, that's fire. So you could consider playing 3, but I think 2 is fine. Like, Spell Trap Banishing is not that great. You only need to do it once usually, and then you're done. And then 1 copy of Jord, I don't really see too much value. There's not a whole lot of Earth running around, so 1 is going to be okay. Plus, it returns itself to the extra after you use it the first time, so you can have another use out of it. And then the remaining, 4 cards in the extra are very flexible. I'd say the only kind of mandatory one is going to be Almirage because this one opens up a lot of 2-card combos into Blackbeard when you open crap cards. I'm talking like Golden Hair plus Redbeard, or you know, even Bluebeard plus Black Eyes. It involves Almirage to get into the most efficient Blackbeard play. So certainly something to think about, but you basically need to play this Almirage. The last 3 are going to be the flex spots. Of course, SP Little Knight follow-up. It's the best follow-up in the game. And then I'm on 1 Dragite, 1 White Aura Whale. I like White Aura Whale kind of just as a blowout card. Sometimes it can come up going second where you can just try to nuke the board and get some advantage that way. Dragite, sometimes you know there's a problem spell or trap set, so you can just surprise your opponent a little bit, go into Dragite, protect yourself from whatever it might be, and then hopefully you have enough extension to continue on with your Plunder plays. And then we have an SP Little Knight as well. Yeah, we don't really need to talk about it. So yeah, that's going to wrap up the deck. There's a few things I do want to test, and that's going to be Kashtiras back in the main, Nibiru's in the main, yeah, maybe like Bestial's in the main, but I don't think Bestial's in the main because we don't really have our own stuff to banish unless we open up specifically like Veiler or Ogre plus Bestial, and that's not wonderful. So Bestials on the side are going to be much better. That's gonna wrap it up for me, I think, here. Okay, so to go along with the deck profile, I'm going to show 1 game that I played on DB Rated with Plunder against Snake Eyes. So let's go ahead and see how that game went. And I'll talk through the plays a little bit. But I won the rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and I decided to go first. Obviously, I didn't know I was playing against Snake Eye yet, but my hand was Ash, Field Spell, Mourner, blue and red, and my opponent had Ash, Poplar, Nib, Veiler, and Diabellstar. So really good hand from my opponent. Solid hand for us as well, especially if we can get our field spell through. So I went ahead and started off with the field spell. My thought was, yeah, okay, I could just normal red, special blue, and just play, or just go for Blackbeard and pass with 2 hand traps, but I figured, hey, I'm going first. Let me try to get rid of one of the hand traps, try to get into a Whitebeard and get full combo that way with Jord and Blackbeard and all that kind of stuff. But Yeah, obviously I pitched the Mourner and that gets hit with Ash, which is really tough. So in the end, we just have to end up going normal summon red, special summon blue, go for Blackbeard, and pray that we draw into a Plunder name when we use Blackbeard effect. So let's go ahead and see how that goes. Let's re-equip the Redbeard just for fun. We have the field spell out, so we might as well give ourselves 500 extra attack. Our opponent draws into Bonfire. Pretty good. Okay, so opponent goes activate Bonfire. We chain Ash. Like that's what you do. You just Ash the Bonfire and hope they have no follow-up. Obviously, they have some follow-up, so they go ahead and special summon the Diabellstar, pitching Nibiru. We're going to go ahead and chain the Blackbeard here to try to summon out a copy of Mowerk. And the reason is that we want to be able to banish that Diabellstar, because even if they search original, we want to keep them off of face-up cards. Hopefully they just have to force to normal summon a hand trap or do something suboptimal. So we want to go for Mowerk. We draw so clutch off of the Blackbeard draw, which is into the Whitebeard here. So that's going to give us, honestly, 2 interruptions. They go ahead and set original, and on res, we're going to Mowerk, pitch the Whitebeard to banish the Diabellstar, and then go ahead and search another field spell for follow-up. Actually, we just want to get it out of the deck and just into graveyard for rotation, and then we're going to go ahead and Whitebeard effect to summon out a copy of red from the deck. And luckily our opponent has discarded a light monster, so we have both light and fire available to us here. Now what I probably should have done, to be honest, is just go immediately for Bran and banish that original Sinful Spoils. But for some reason, I decided to go Redbeard here on Summon of Poplar to go for a copy of the Liss instead. Because my thought was, okay, they're going to normal summon Poplar, they're going to place the field spell, they're going to get Snake Eyes Diabellstar, and they're still going to be able to link to. So even if I get rid of the original, it's not going to be great. But honestly, if they go for Link 2, who cares? Like, what are they going to get into that's going to be any better? Sure, okay, there's a Hida, there's... they can get into Promethean, but they don't have access to Ash or Oak if I get rid of that original. So this list should have been a Brand for sure. Would have searched me a monster for follow-up. But my thought was, okay, they're going to go ahead and activate the original. They're going to summon an Ash, and I'm going to be able to chain the list, get rid of the Ash, and we'll be cooking. But I forgot they could chain block with Poplar, so this is definitely a bad play. Anyway, they go Ash 1, Poplar 2, equip or place the Poplar, search for another Poplar, which they can still use to special summon an extender here. Now, okay, Liss is going to have to negate the Ash send, and we'll play from there. But this dude, for some reason, sends the Poplar from the monster zone. Like, what are we doing here? So this is pretty clutch. Easy negate with Liss. Discard the field spell. Quick note for Plunder players here, you do not get to search off of Liss for this. Liss has to destroy and then search. Because the Ash is in the graveyard, you have not destroyed the Ash, so you do not get to search any follow-up cards. So we are forced to just go 0 in hand. He's going to summon the Snake Eyes Diabellstar, go battle, move the Mowerk into the Spell and Trap zone, move the Snake Eyes Diabellstar into the Spell and Trap zone, and try to cook from there. We draw into Bluebeard. Okay, not too bad. We have Liss in the main monster zone. We have Redbeard and Mowerk in the Spell and Trap zone. Clutch from Liss, though. Here, good to note for the Snake Eyes match is that you can special a Plunder card from your face-up Spell and Trap zone. It doesn't say a Plunder card that's equipped or that's treated as an equipped spell or any of that. From the Spell and Trap zone, okay? So we can just go ahead and summon this Mowerk right back, which is super nice for this particular matchup. And we're going to do that, and our opponent is going to go ahead and activate the field spell here. I assume, yeah, field spell, summon the Ash out, and go for follow-up. So I decide, hey, I'm going to negate the Ash with the Liss and see what we can do here. But our opponent has a Veiler for the Liss, so that's pretty tough. Okay, we're stuck on 0 cards in hand. Just our Liss is used, but it's negated, and we kind of have to roll from here. Our opponent has just searched Oak as a really good follow-up. So from here, what do? We have a play, all right? So what I do is activate the field spell in the graveyard targeting this red. And what that's going to do is add the red back to my hand. It's going to place the field spell from the graveyard, or it's going to set it to the field spell zone. So effectively, I set the one that was there, I set the one that was in the grave, and now I can go ahead and activate the field spell, and now I have a discard fodder. So we're ready to roll. Discard the red beard here. We're going to search out the white, and now we can use the Mowork, pitch the white to get rid of that ash. We don't want the ash to go to the graveyard for Oak to summon it back for follow-up, so we're just going to turbo through all of our interruptions here, go ahead and search out the emblem and summon out the golden hair from the white beard to get that into rotation, which is going to be really nice. We're just going to go ahead and link off the list and the golden hair. The list is negated anyway. We've already used its effects, so we're going to go ahead and link off into a Blackbeard, and now we can go battle phase, swing for 16, use Blackbeard effect, and all our opponent has is spell and trap zone interruption, so we're going to go straight for that Bran and draw one. We draw into Desires. Beautiful. We're going to attack with Bran for 3000 attack. And now we can go ahead and activate Desires. Like, we would have used Bran to banish something. We're gonna, but I would rather Desires first to see if there's something better to discard than the emblem. I'd rather keep the emblem in hand if possible. So we're gonna Desires for 2, draw into white and gold. Like, beautiful. I mean, we've already used them this turn, but still, we draw into Plunder names. We have ammo for days. So we're gonna go ahead, pitch that golden hair, get rid of the field spell, so that's really good follow-up, because if we go into a Blackbeard, they're gonna, like on our opponent's turn, if we Blackbeard summon out whatever, they have field spell. We wanna just get rid of that. So we're gonna banish the field spell, and then because we have Bran equipped, we're gonna be able to banish probably the Snake Eyes Diabellstar on our opponent's turn anyway. And we're gonna go ahead and search out a Black Eyes. We can use the Black Eyes here, summon itself out, and because we have an emblem ready to roll, we just need the one name and we can equip it with emblem. And I wanted to add back the Redbeard because I want to get this Mowork equipped ASAP to be able to be a quick effect, right? So we're going to go ahead, emblem on the Black Eyes. We're going to summon out another copy of List. So now we have all 3 types of interruption. We could have also gone for Blackbeard and then into List on our opponent's turn for a draw one, but I wanted to play around Talents or Thrust or whatever, and just have the List ready to roll. And I thought that would be totally fine. And then we pass turn here. And then in draw phase, we're going to go ahead and fire off the Bran, pitch the Redbeard to get rid of that Snake Eyes Diabellstar, which is a huge piece of follow-up for our opponent. And we're going to go ahead and add the Black Eyes here. And now we're going to equip the red to Mowork. So I wanted to fire that off to get the red equipped as soon as possible. And now we're all ready to roll. Our opponent normal summons Oak. We're just going to negate and destroy, and that's it. So our opponent scoops it up there. They made a big misplay when they sent the Monster Poplar instead of the Spell Poplar earlier with the Ash, the Snake Eyes Ash. And I don't know how the game would have turned out differently, but we got our momentum rolling really well, and we were able to get this W, even though our opponent opened really well as well. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this replay. There's more Plunder replays coming to the channel soon, so make sure you subscribe to catch those if you want more Plunder action on YouTube. I'm the guy to give it to you, hopefully. So yeah, leave a like, sub to the channel, leave a comment what you thought about this profile and this particular one of game. I entered a best of 3, but the guy scooped after game 1 and left. So hey, what can we do? Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see you soon.